So you're going to start with the C major chord. You're going to walk down from C to B flat to A, or A7 as I'm playing it. So crazy, crazy for feeling so lonely, D minor, and it hangs on the D minor there for a while without any vocals, so I threw the A7 back in there. Either way, if you hang on the D minor or throw the A7 in there, before you transition to the G7, you're going to throw in a D minor 7, which is just splitting the difference between your D minor and your D7. It's a D minor 7. Think of it as your F chord with the 4th string open. So far we have crazy. Crazy for feeling so lonely. Crazy, G7. If I get the lyrics wrong anywhere in here, forgive me, I'm not a singer. It hangs on a G7 quite a while, so I mixed it up by playing an F in the bass, alternating with that G in the bass, because of course F is the 7 in a G7 chord. And you can do that by just not playing the 5th string, your B note that you would normally play. Just don't play it, just mute it. You know, you can go back to a C, C diminished, G, you can feel that tension building to the G. Diminished chords again, you've got 1st fret, 2nd and 4th strings, 2nd fret, 1st and 3rd strings. There's 2 ways of thinking of this. When you're going from the 1 to the 5, you can play the diminished chord of the 1. So this is a C diminished. We know that diminished chords repeat every 3 frets. The exact same notes, just inverted. Anyway, the other way you can think of this is you can always play a diminished chord leading, and we're leading from an F sharp to a G. So you can play it from 1 fret below, half step below. You can hear how that leads. So far again. A7, D minor, A7, D minor, D minor 7, G7 if you want to put the bass in there with the F, to C, C diminished, G, G7, back to crazy. Crazy, thinking that my love would hold you, and crazy again. Bridge, C, F, C, C7, creates tension to worry. The bridge starts on an F. Why would I make myself worry to a C chord? And then we're going to go C7, C sharp 7, D7, hang on your D7 for a while. Resolve to a G, G7, and then we're back to crazy. Crazy for thinking my love would hold you. Now, the walk down at the end, crazy for trying, crazy for crying, crazy for loving you. Tabs disagree. The way I'm playing it is F, 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 E minor, E minor 7, D minor, A7. Tabs agree the last 3 chords are D minor, G7, C. Okay, so again, F, 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 E minor, D minor, A7, D minor, G7, C. And then in the Willie Nelson version that I covered, he does a key change up a half step. You can put a capo on the first fret and you're good. I'm not going to get into that. Let's get into the melody, which is the really interesting, fun, cool part, because again, C major scale, outlining chord shapes, it's just a thing of beauty. Okay, so the chords starts we saw on a C. So here we have a C major triad of the A shape here. What does he do? He sings two notes out of a C major triad. He goes E, G, second string, fourth string at the fifth fret, and then the chord switches to an A or an A7. What does he do? You can see that that's an A chord, right? 4, 3, 2, 1. The last two notes of that phrase are F, A, D minor. There we have it, D, F, A, right? D minor chord. So he's outlining chord and then part of a D minor chord. Over that, I think just to add some interest, I played it up here and maybe did a little D minor arpeggio, and then we know the chord switches to a G or G7. We go A, B, and then he does the same arpeggio over the G chord that he did over the A chord. You can just hear the C major scale there. C, B, A, G. Why does he end on a G? Because it's part of that C chord. And I, at one point, did the arpeggio again, the same arpeggio over this F shape. Can call it the E or F shape. Just running down the C major scale. Second time around's the same. Crazy. Crazy. Only thing different here, instead of going C, B, A, G, he goes F, E, D, C, but it's the same, right? It's just C major scale. Ending on a C note. Why? Because the chord progression has changed to a C there at the end, and I did a little Keith Richards. Why? Because leading into the bridge, as I showed you, he goes C, F, C, and that is C, F, C, right? The D shape of an F chord. And then we knew it went to a C7. Anytime you have a major triad, if you drop the root note, in this case the C, 2 frets, that's going to give you the 7, right? You know that's a C7, so this is just an inversion of a C7. The same way if you had the D shape of a C chord, you would drop that C note 2 frets to make a C7. All right, worry. He goes C-A. How do you spell an F chord? We're over an F chord. You spell an F chord F-A-C. So he goes C-A, 2 notes out of an F chord, and then he walks up an F arpeggio, that same D shape of an F chord we just looked at. Right? 2 notes out of a C chord he ends on, and I think that's where I walked down on the arpeggio. Second time around, we know we've done that walk up to D7. This is the only place in the whole melody where there's a note that's not in the C major scale. And why is it? It's because it's part of a D major chord and he's over a D7. He plays that F sharp note there at the 7th fret, or sings the F sharp note. 7th fret. second string. Why? Because that's part of our A shape, right, of a D chord. Right, that's your top 3 strings of the A shape of a D chord. And that's just beautiful, right? He's over D7, he goes. Can you hear that, right? That's the D7 of an A7 shape. He's outlined it. And he ends on the B note there because we're on a G chord. That's our D shape of a G chord, and then you can turn it into a G7 just the same way we did with the C a minute ago, by dropping the root note 2 frets to make it the 7, the dominant 7. Okay, so again, the whole bridge. And then we're back to crazy. Outlining our A chord again, going to the D minor. Now here's the cool descending thing that there's also a piece of at the beginning of the song in this particular version. And I figured I'd just show it to you here instead of twice. So it's just sweet, it's just beautiful, and it's just all C major scale stuff, but it's just so beautiful. So A, C, A, F, B, G, E, A, F, D, G, E, E, F, 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 E, E, C. So play around with that. It's a good one just to try to hear. And I think I ended on a C major 7. I played it this version. And of course I was up a fret. It was actually a C sharp major 7 because there had been that key change. But that's just a pretty chord to end a song on. And I've talked about major 7ths in other lessons. Just tons to dig into here. C major scale stuff, the chord shapes, the arpeggios. I think it's a wonderful one to just noodle with along with that great chord progression. So have some fun with it. Discover the brilliance of Willie Nelson. And as always, thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.